Hey everybody, welcome back. As part of a summer research project, some students here at Burrell conducted a study to see if bats in our local area were carrying coronavirus. Well, to tell us a little bit more, I am joined by Dr. Tom Eiding, Assistant Professor of Physiology. Thank you for being on the show.
Hi, Sid. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. You know, this is really exciting. We walked down the hallway. I've heard people call you Batman, yeah, pun intended. I kind of laugh about that. But this is really very interesting. Tell me about it. Well, how did this come up?
Yeah, so this came up because, it came up because of the COVID pandemic, first of all. And you may have heard that bats are carrying coronaviruses. Well, I do want to point out that bats aren't carrying human coronaviruses. So bats are carrying coronaviruses that are somewhat related to the coronaviruses that are in humans, but it's not the same strains of coronaviruses.
Correct, it's different. Let's make that very clear. It is different.
But so I have collaborations with some faculty at New Mexico State across the street here, and they have bats. They collect bats locally. They have laboratory colonies of bats, and so we kind of put our heads together and came up with a project that would allow us to harness this COVID pandemic to generate some interest in looking into coronaviruses in our bat populations here locally, and just kind of see what we've got as far as diversity and abundance of coronaviruses. So that's really the genesis of the whole project.
So we had the opportunity to interview you and a couple of our students. Let's watch this story.
Hi, my name is Tom Eiding. I'm an assistant professor of physiology at Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine. We're doing an exciting project where we're looking at bats and bat tissues.
We're specifically looking at the coronaviruses to see what kind of variants they have and what they might be spreading around to each other.
Bats are really important parts of our ecosystem. A lot of them eat insects, they pollinate plants, they spread seeds of different plants around too. The ones that we have in this region in particular are insect eaters, and so that really helps keep down the insect population.
So we're using various types of laboratory techniques, including something called immunohistochemistry, where we're taking small samples of bat tissues and we're subjecting them to reagents that are specifically designed to detect coronavirus in tissue sections.
These viruses won't be able to pass directly to us. They have to go through another vector. But it is very important to understand how these viruses evolve and how they affect the local bat populations around here.
I like participating in basic research. I did that for 5 years post-grad, and I understand that is the building blocks for public health research, for medicine, everywhere that we've gotten in science.
This kind of background work, where we're interested in understanding the evolution, ecology, and diversity of these coronaviruses and how that interacts with the bats, is really key to understanding its presence in our community and to ultimately try to better understand how we might approach virus and virus transmission and these related issues from a human health perspective, but that's way down the line.
Very cool story. So I gotta ask, it's really about the research and research really in general across Burrell, its philosophy. Tell me why research is so important.
Yeah, I think research is really important because fundamentally it allows you or students to ask questions and try to really go where no one's gone before, in the sense that at its most basic, research allows you to ask questions and pursue ideas that ultimately can help generate new knowledge. And I think students really find a lot of joy and fulfillment in that process. And so whether it's a coronavirus project or a project looking at osteopathic manipulative medicine with some of our faculty here, we have all sorts of research projects going on at Burrell, and we're able to engage students who are interested in a variety of topics that really allows them to explore their innate curiosity.
And how does that work? So, I know we have, like, say, our summer research projects or research in general. Students come up with their idea or their narrative, and do they get partnered with a faculty member or an advisor? How does it work?
Yeah, so it can work in a few ways. So the summer research experience is probably our main stream with which we engage students in research, and that is really, most of those projects are sort of faculty generated projects, and students go through an application process that they sort of read through the project, see what's interesting to them. They go and engage with the faculty mentor or the faculty advisors and try to get a sense for what they'll be doing that summer in that project. And then there's sort of just a match process, and we try to match up students with the advisors based on whatever project they're interested in. Students also have a chance to engage in research that's of their own creation. They can come up with their own project, develop that in tandem with the faculty advisor. That can be something that's done over the summer. It can be done over the course of the whole academic year. And in fact, we go all the way up to where we have students who do almost like a mini graduate project. They don't get a separate graduate degree, but they do a program called the Distinction in Research, and that is essentially a credential that they'll get on their graduation diploma when they finish, and that involves really a more intense research experience. The students are able to dive in even deeper, and again, it's about feeding this curiosity and really seeing where the ideas take them.
It starts with an idea, and then it grows. I'm going to bring it back to the bats as we're wrapping up this interview. You know, I wanted to stress, and it was mentioned, you know, slightly in the story, bats are so important to our ecosystem. Can you share some more information on that?
Yeah, sure. Bats play really key roles all up and down our ecosystem. So they're major predators of pests. So they consume mosquitoes, they consume little larvae of moths and other things that are very destructive to your garden, for example. Here in the Southwest especially, a lot of bats are pollinating many of our agave species, including a very famous agave species. And they engage in other ecosystem dynamics with you know, flowers and fruits, where they're able to sort of pollinate flowers, they're able to disperse seeds of fruits into various environments, and so they're really playing key roles all throughout the ecosystem.
You know, when to bring it back to the research concept, you know, after they're done with their research here and putting it together, what happens? Is there local competitions, national competitions with research? Where can it go?
Yeah, sure. Research can form the backbone of robust programs throughout the lives of a physician or a researcher. They are able to take these various projects, they're able to present locally or up in Albuquerque, they present nationally or even internationally at conferences, and then ultimately we like to see many of our projects published in peer-reviewed scientific journals, and that gives the students and the faculty really a great experience and really a fantastic opportunity to have their work read and judged by their peers and judged to be sufficient to then be published. And so this peer review process is really a key facet of how science is done, and we try to get our students involved in that process too, so they can see from beginning to end. That's sort of one of the final stage goals of any given research project.
Dr. Iding, if somebody wanted more information on Burrell's research projects, where can they get it?
Yeah, so you can find links to our research from the Burrell website. You can reach out to individual faculty directly. Our Office of Research and Sponsored Projects is prominent on Burrell's website, and so you can find more information there.
Thank you so much for your information. Truly appreciate it. And continued success on all your different research projects, including with the bats. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So that is our show. If you have questions or story ideas, you can send us an email. Our email is communications@burrell.edu. We would love to hear from you. You can also follow us on our social media handles. Our handle is @Burrell College. I'm your host, Sydney Alvarez. Thanks for joining us, and until next time.